November 30th, 1939. The Soviet Union invaded Finland with 750,000 soldiers, 6,000 tanks, and 3,800 aircraft. They expected an easy victory. Finland had only 300,000 soldiers, outdated equipment, and no tanks to speak of. The world watched. Certain Finland would fall within days. But the Soviets didn't count on one thing: Finnish sisu, stubborn determination. And they definitely didn't count on a small farmer named Simo Häyhä. As Soviet forces poured across the border, Finnish families fled their homes. Villages burned. The temperature dropped to -40 degrees Celsius. It was hell frozen over. Finland was outnumbered, outgunned, and out of time. They needed a miracle. What they got was something even better. They got the White Death. Simo Häyhä was 34 years old, just 5 feet 3 inches tall, a quiet farmer and hunter. He'd never wanted to be a soldier. But when his country called, he answered. He grabbed his old Mosin Nagant rifle, the same one he used for hunting, and reported for duty. The military offered him a scoped rifle. He refused. He'd always used iron sights. Why change now? Simo took his position in the frozen forests of Kola. He wore all white. He packed snow in front of his rifle to prevent muzzle flash from giving away his position. He put snow in his mouth so his breath wouldn't fog in the freezing air. He became invisible, a ghost in the trees. And then, he started hunting. Day 1, 5 kills. Day 2, 8 kills. Day 3, 7 kills. Soviet soldiers began falling, one by one, and no one could see where the shots came from. Officers screamed orders. Soldiers fired blindly into the forest, but Simo was already gone, repositioning, preparing his next shot. He was playing a deadly game of chess, and he was always 3 moves ahead. Within weeks, his kill count reached 100. Then 200. Soviet troops began to panic. They called him Belaya Smirt, the White Death. Rumors spread through the Red Army. Some said he could shoot through trees. Others claimed he could disappear into thin air. Soldiers refused to advance. Fear of one man paralyzed entire units. The Soviet command couldn't tolerate this. They sent counter-snipers, their best marksmen, to hunt Simo. He killed them all. They sent entire squads. He picked them off one by one. The man they called the White Death was destroying their morale, their confidence, and their invasion. Desperate, the Soviets began artillery bombardments on the forest areas where Simo operated. They leveled entire sections of woodland, thousands of shells, just to kill one man. When the smoke cleared and scouts moved in, expecting to find his body, there was nothing. Simo had simply moved to a different position and continued hunting. By February 1940, Simo Häyhä had killed over 500 Soviet soldiers, 500, in just 100 days of combat. That's 5 men per day, in -40-degree weather, using only iron sights. It remains the highest number of confirmed sniper kills in any major war in history. But Simo never bragged. He never celebrated. He was just doing his job, protecting his homeland. The Soviets became obsessed with killing the White Death. They knew the war was turning into a disaster, partly because of this one man. They assigned their best counter-sniper team exclusively to hunt him down. For days, they stalked through the frozen forest, searching for any sign of the ghost sniper. March 6th, 1940. Simo was in position when a Soviet sniper finally spotted him. The Russian fired an explosive bullet. It hit Simo directly in the face. His entire lower left jaw was blown off. Half his face was destroyed. His comrades found him lying in the snow, drowning in his own blood. They were certain he was dead. They carried his body back to base. It was over. But Simo Häyhä refused to die. Doctors worked frantically, though they had little hope. The damage was catastrophic. They couldn't understand how he was still alive. Simo fell into a coma. The doctors said if he woke up, it would be a miracle. If he woke up, he'd be brain damaged, disfigured, broken. Days passed. Then a week. Then 11 days. On March 13th, 1940, Simo opened his eyes. The exact day Finland and the Soviet Union signed a peace treaty. The war was over. The White Death had survived. When he finally recovered enough to speak, his first question was, "Did we win?" Finland hadn't won, but they hadn't lost either. They'd forced one of the world's superpowers into a peace treaty, and Simo had played his part. Simo Häyhä lived to be 96 years old. He returned to farming and hunting. He never sought fame or glory. When reporters asked if he regretted killing over 500 men, he simply said, "I did what I was told to do, as well as I could." When asked how he became such a good shot, he replied, "Practice." That was Simo. Humble, quiet, deadly. The White Death proved that one person, with courage and determination, can change the course of history. Simo Häyhä didn't have the best equipment. He wasn't the biggest or strongest, but he had something more powerful: the will to protect what he loved. And that made him unstoppable. Remember his name. Remember what one determined person can do.